And still in the nation's capital, a federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by a former senator, AdamuBulkachuwa, seeking to stop his investigation and arrest by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. Mr. Bulkachuwa had, during the valedictory session of the 9th Senate, confessed to influencing his wife in the discharge of her duties as president of the Court of Appeal between 2014 and 2020. Judiciary correspondent Celestine Area reports.
Particularly my wife, whose freedom and independence I encroached upon while she was in office. And she has been very tolerant and accepted my encroachment and extended her help to my colleagues.
The clear provisions of Section 39 of the Constitution cannot be interpreted to mean that a person can say anything he likes. In a formal setting like that of a plenary session or committee proceedings of the Senate, it is not expected that a person who is privileged to voice any statement will give information that cannot be defended under the law. These were the findings of Justice Iyank Eko as he dismissed the suit filed by former lawmaker for lacking in merit. The court also held that Mr. Bulkachuwa's statement is not a contribution, but rather a confession that he influenced his wife while she was the president of the Court of Appeal. This is an act of corruption. It insisted that the words uttered on the floor of the Senate depicts corruption and is not covered by the Legislative Powerhouse Privilege Act 2017. The court concluded that words uttered on the floor of the Senate has gone beyond the words that can be covered by Section 39 of the Constitution, and that the speech of Mr. Bulkachuwa is a confection of a legal act. Justice Iyank Eko clarified that the invitation by the ICPC has been interpreted wrongly by Mr. Bulkachuwa, and the suit is an attempt to shield himself from investigation. He stressed that no citizen, no matter how highly placed, can be shielded from investigation. Thus, the legislative immunity which the plaintiff claims in this case does not avail him. As a lawmaker, he ought to have understood the implication of the statement. The judge made it clear that the court cannot stop the anti-graft agencies from inviting anyone for questioning, and that the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, is not a place to hide any person who has confessed to an act that amounts to crime under the law. Mr. Bulkachuwa had filed this suit before the Federal High Court 3 days after receiving an invitation from the ICPC for possible questioning and investigation in respect to the statement he made. He had prayed the court to stop the ICPC or any anti-graft agency from investigating him. However, his wife, Justice AdamuBulkachuwa, retired, had in a statement said that she never at any point in time was unprofessional or unethical while discharging her duties as the president of the Court of Appeal. Celestine Area, TVC News, Abuja.
And for further perspective on the court proceeding, I'm being joined on the news by TVC Judiciary correspondent Celestina. Celestina, this is one case that a lot of Nigerians are watching to see how it plays out, because that statement he made garnered criticism from Nigerians. Talk to us about that particular statement from the judge. How did they react to that particular statement he made?
Well, Precious, the former senator or the former lawmaker, had approached the Federal High Court seeking to be protected by the court. And also in the suit he filed a suit against the AGF, the ICPC, and also the DSS and the police, seeking to stop any of these agencies from investigating him or inviting him for questioning. But we should understand that freedom of speech or expression has limitation. And the statement he made at the valedictory session of the 9th Assembly was indicting, and also one way or the other has tainted the image of his wife, who was the president of the Court of Appeal from 2014 to 2020 before she retired. And what he said was she allowed him to encroach into her independence, and also his friends benefited from that. The implication of that statement means that Justice AdamuBulkachuwa, as she then was a president of the Court of Appeal,
was allowed herself to be used by her husband in order to influence judgment. And this is against the code of conduct for judicial officers, most especially for judges. And this now brings to the question of the judgment at which she had delivered, or the influence at which she had during that period as the president. What happens to those judgments? It now questions the credibility of those judgments delivered by the retired President of the Court of Appeal. And now the court has said that he cannot stop the ICPC from doing their job. It can only stop the ICPC if, in the course of doing their job, they violate the right of a citizen. Yes, the person can come to court to enforce a fundamental enforcement suit, but in this case, the court cannot stop the ICPC from inviting or investigating him. So this is a clear way for the ICPC, if they want to pursue this case, to invite him for questioning and to clarify the statement he made and what he meant by his wife allowed him access to influence her during her time as the president of the Court of Appeal.
And I'm sure, Celestina, this is one case that the judiciary is taking very seriously, because many have said, look, this is not just about the integrity of his wife, but also about the integrity of the judiciary. Thank you so much for that update, Celestina.